Hi everyone, welcome to the Wine Archive. My name is Yannick Durbaka and today we're at Gruaud Larose. We were invited by Arnaud Frederic and he has a small surprise for us.
Hi there, welcome at the estates. As you can see on the back, you can see the chateau. I'm very pleased to be here today with Yannick. Thank you for the invitation.
No problem.
So we are about to try a nice lineup. So we are going to try 5 different vintages all the way up from 86 till 2018. So during this travel, we're going to try 1996, 2010 and 2014 as well.
Quite a lineup.
Yes, it's just the idea to show the evolution of the estates throughout the years and just to explain what we have done in the vineyard and in the winery as well to bring lots of precision in our wine.
Okay, let's start.
So first of all, we're going to try 1986, Château Gruaud Larose.
The smell is amazing already.
Well, first of all, when you take a look at the color, you can definitely see that the wine is 35 years old, but still have more to come, you know? Yes. On the nose, you can definitely get the tertiary notes, but still feel freshness. Mm-hmm. It's very leisurely, undergrowth.
Some leather.
Yes.
Tobacco, but all very velvety, very smooth. So the tannins are very pleasant.
Yes.
But maybe if we let it breathe, it will be better, or what's going to happen, you think?
I think we need to leave the wine open up for 15 to 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. But the real thing about this wine is the very long-lasting finish. Yes. It's very, very amazing when you try. You think the wine is 35 years old, and you can still feel the freshness on the back of the mouth that brings this very long-lasting tasting.
I have amazing flavors of berries. Some vanille. Mm-hmm. The oakness is still a little bit present, but light, but it's still there.
By that time, as far as I remember, it was probably 65 to 70% new oak.
Okay. And the blend, what's the blend of this vintage?
This one is 62% Cabernet Sauvignon. This is 24 Merlot. There is 7% Cab Franc, and the rest is a little bit of Petit Verdot and also Malbec.
I was wondering what the little bit of spice was. So I think it's the Petit Verdot, and the Cabernet Franc.
It was probably, yes, the more the Cabernet Franc. Okay. But by that time, we used to have one plot of Malbec back in the day. Now we put some Merlot instead. But it was just in front of the chateau on the other side. And now, because to say a few words about the winery and the vineyard. In the old days in Bordeaux, they used to put the Cabernet Sauvignon at the bottom of the slope and the Merlot at the top of the slope. The reason why they did that, they were afraid about the frost. And they thought for some reason that if they put the Cabernet Sauvignon at the bottom of the slope, it would be better to be protected against the frost. Mm-hmm. It makes sense back then. Yes. But in regards to the kind of soil we have here, it's a nonsense actually. At the top of the slope, we have 2 hilly gravel knolls, and at the top of the slope, we have really poor soil, really acid soil with big gravel from the Guns period, which is minus 700 years prior to Jesus Christ, so quite a long time ago. And by that time, the France and Spain met each other. This is when Pyrenees Mountains was founded. And to be real quick, because obviously it was a very long-lasting process, yes. We had the gravel, so it has been followed by icing period, and when all the ice melted, they brought the rocks from the Pyrenees Mountains to here. That's the reason why we have this kind of gravel on our soils on the left bank. So that suits perfectly the Cabernet Sauvignon. Yeah. And at the bottom of the slope, we have more sandy clay kind of soil, so perfect for the Merlot. Mm-hmm. We have to, because we work here with precise viticulture, which means that we will put the right grape variety on the right soil. We had to switch quite a lot of our plots aiming to put the Cabernet Sauvignon at the right spot and the Merlot also at the right spot.
That's nice, very interesting. So a lot of changes has been made.
Yes, and this is thanks to Mr. Jean Merlot, the current owner, who bought the estates in 1997. He is a real wine grower, owners of several wineries all around Bordeaux. And because first of all, he's a wine grower and it's a family. And back in the day, we used to be owned by big investors. Yes. And it was very nice for the chateau because thanks to them, we can have these kind of facilities. But at the same time, thanks to Jean, the focus has been put on the vineyard, which is the most important thing in the wine, obviously. This is the fruit. And this is the reason why we decided to take out vines, replant them. And when you're a family, you can definitely give something for the future. And Mr. Merlot really wants to give something to his family for the future. That's nice.
So for the next one, we have 96.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that one. Very interesting vintage and very nice to compare with the previous wine.
Gruaud Larose is really well known to be the kind of wine. First of all, it's a very Saint-Julien wine. Mm-hmm. When we mean Saint-Julien, frankly speaking, very often people describe it as a blend between Pauillac and Margaux. Mm-hmm. And if we take a look at the position of the estates, we are basically right in the middle in terms of mapping. There is Margaux down south, which is 15 to 20 kilometers down south, and we have Pauillac, which is maybe 15 kilometers up north. And Pauillac wines are really strong, really Cabernet Sauvignon. In Margaux, this is more on the finesse. Mm-hmm. And when you try the wines from Gruaud Larose, this is probably the more Saint-Julien of Saint-Julien wines. You can definitely feel the strength of the wines, but at the same time, there is lots of finesse. This is definitely the kind of style we aim for at the estate.
So the 1996 right now.
So the blend in this wine, this is 64% Cabernet Sauvignon, 26% Merlot. You get 7% Cab Franc and 3% Petit Verdot.
In the nose, very elegant, very soft, huh?
Compares to the 86, yeah. It's a bit more powerful on the nose. Mm-hmm.
And here I have some red berries, or more red berries.
This is really the 1996. This is really my go-to vintage at the moment, because I think that's the purest expression of what the estate has been doing for a while. Now the style is still the same. We probably bring more precision thanks to all the techniques we have in the vineyards and in the winery. But this is exactly, this wine shows all the potential of Gruaud Larose when it's aged well.
This is, in my opinion, in its perfect drinking window.
Yes.
Wow.
Exactly.
Because this is the first time I drank a proper 1996 of Gruaud, and I'm very, very pleased to taste it.
Just a tiny tasting tip. If you have some bottle in your cellar, I would advise to double decant the 1996. So decanting, which means that you will decant in the decanter and then put it back in the bottle. That's probably the best thing you should do. It will help to open up the flavors of the wine. It's crazy, the paprika, yes.
It's so nice. I wish I was born at 96. The structure is so soft, so nice, so velvety.
But still the spiciness, yes. All the way.
I don't know, this is like a very easy wine to drink, but you feel the layers of complexity. Exactly. But it's all elegance, all elegance.
You know, very often we have the chance to host lots of people from all over the world, mm-hmm. And they quite often ask the question, why Bordeaux is Bordeaux? And why should I buy a bottle of Gruaud Larose or anything else but a Grand Cru from Bordeaux? And what makes a Grand Cru for me, it's when you try it and you say, oh, there is the tannin structure, oh, there is the spiciness, or there is the fruitiness. And instead of having one or two of them, we have everything, and we are somewhere right in the middle. And you're trying to figure, you can definitely feel you get everything, but it's so melted in the wine. And that's called a real Bordeaux. And now it's the case for Gruaud Larose, but for most of the big names here, there is lots of purity, lots of freshness in the wine. So which means you can have all the fruit, but at the same time, it's a really long-lasting wine.
Yeah, it's nice. So, for example, for the people that have 96 in their cellar, obviously, while tasting this wine, we advise you to open it. But if they want to risk it to age it for a longer time, what would you guess that the window will keep?
For me, it shouldn't be a problem. Mm-hmm. It depends on your taste buds. Mm-hmm. I would advise to try it now. But if you want to leave it in your cellar for a while. Of course, you will slightly move towards more tertiary notes,
Yes.
but over the years, Gruaud Larose is really well known for its aging potential, so don't be afraid, frankly speaking.
Following up, a very big vintage as well, 2010.
Yes.
Very surprised that you opened up that one. Very curious about that one. Because if I remember correctly, we tasted 09
Yes.
in September.
Exactly.
I was blown away about it, and I was very curious about the 010. Let's taste it. I'm very curious. Wow.
If you allow me, I would like to say a few words about a so-called fantastic vintage in Bordeaux.
For sure.
So we have together 5 conditions. So the first one would be a very quick and sunny flowering in order to get the flowery process in a good way. Afterwards, it has to be followed by a very nice fruit setting, which is the second conditions. We need also to have a beautiful weather conditions in order to get the roots ready for the drought during summer. The third condition would be a beautiful hot and dry months of July in order to get a little bit of hydric stress in the vineyard. We need so. What we say in Bordeaux, we say that the hydric stress has to be at the horizon. The third condition would be a month of August sunny but not too hot. Maybe July is the backbone of the wine. August and September are more focused on the fruit. And I would say that August has to be sunny but not too hot, with maybe 3 or 4 days of rain spread over the months. And the fifth condition would be a beautiful Indian summer with hot days, but rather not cold but cool nights in order to bring freshness in the fruit. And those 5 conditions are probably able to produce a fantastic vintage. Okay. And in 10, we almost had every conditions perfectly.
Almost bingo.
Yes, it's a bingo wine. You could have been the winemaker in 10. It was very easy. On the 2 previous one, obviously it was tile red. Mm-hmm. Here is very purplish red still.
Yes, purplish. Mm. So yeah, that's nice.
When we released the 10, everybody's in Bordeaux said, oh, that's the kind of vintage, that's a game changer for sure. But they said, we have to wait for 20 years. And it's funny because I really like to, and we will see it later on, but I really like to speak about tasting window. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, which was the case for 86, for example, because probably of the precision we had for harvest time, and we didn't have the same techniques we have right now, we had to wait maybe 5 to 10 years before being able to enjoy the wine. The crazy thing is, the more we go, the more we can see that the wine is enjoyable sooner. Of course, this is not my best advice. I still advise to age the wine for a while. Mm-hmm. But if you're a bit freaky and you want to try the wine sooner, it's not an issue at all, because the tannins are so ripe. Then you can enjoy the wine sooner. And because you know the Cabernet Sauvignon, which is the king of the grapes on the left bank, it brings lots of freshness in the wine. It's the backbone of the wine, and it's going to be able to leave the wine aged for such a long time. So that's the reason why I'm talking about tasting window. The wine will be able to enjoy sooner and will, I think, last for a very long time. So don't be afraid to forget a bottle, 1 or 2 bottles in your cellar.
For sure. Yeah, a lot of people ask me, look, Yannick, I see you opening up very young vintages. Why are you doing? Because Bordeaux is very well known to keep it in their cellar. Mm-hmm. And I really tell to the people, no, their mentality is really changed. They micromanage their wines from now for the last so many years, and the wines are very approachable. Mm-hmm. At a younger age. Obviously, it will be advisable to let them rest in the cellar, but if you want to do something crazy, open it up, and if you don't open it up, you don't know. To produce a fantastic vintage, mm-hmm. you have to gather 3 conditions. You have, first of all, the soils, obviously, but there is not much you can do. You have the soils you deserve. And then the second thing is the human who works here, which is here very, very important. We truly value, thanks to Mr. Jean Merlot, the team is almost a family. I'm a very good example. My father used to work here, the gardener, his father used to work here as well. There is lots of case here on the estate, which is the case, and it's very important because this is the idea of transmitting something to the next generation. So we need the soil, the humans, and the third thing is weather conditions. Over the past 10 years,
apart from 1 or 2 vintages, we've been very, very lucky, and we produce great vintages. Yeah. So very often there is a new en primeur release, and Bordeaux is coming with another fantastic vintage. But this is not a lie. That's really true. And the other thing is because of the precision we have. The very important thing is harvest time first. There is not only a thing of, it's not a technical thing. No. When you have the right pH, the right sugar level, it's harvest time. No, there is the technologic maturity, but there is also the phenolic, anthocyaninic, and so on maturity, which is very important. And when you've reached the perfect ripeness, thanks to intraplot selection, we can go deeper in the selection. So afterwards, we will sort the grapes 4 times. There is first sorting that will take place inside the row. We're going to have the guys from the chateau checking all the buckets. This is a rough sorting, but just to make sure there is not too much leaf. Okay. Then we will bring the grapes at the end of the row. We're going to sort bunch per bunch with 8 people on it. It's a huge sorting table. Then we're going to bring the grapes at the winery. I told you before, Gruaud Larose is 82 hectares, but all around the chateau, this is a so-called single block estate. Nice. And as you can imagine, this is definitely a huge asset in terms of homogeneity of the terroir, but at the same time, so when you have to bring the grapes from the vineyards to the winery, it's very quick. Yes. So you basically you avoid any oxidation issues. Nice. The third sorting will take place, so you're going to crush the berries, and then there is a sorting by hand, berry per berry, in order to take out the pétiole and so on, because there is the fourth sorting, which is probably the most important, which is optical sorting. And basically at the end, the berries you put in the vats, that's almost a jam, you know? That's wow. Only the purest fruit. Wow. And that's the beginning for producing a fantastic wine. If you, obviously, if you put good berries, but also the bad ones, at the end, it's like when you cook something. When your raw material are perfect, you might be able to produce a bad plate, but that's the compulsory. I mean, yeah. No, really. And afterwards, wow. Obviously, there is the precision of the winemaker, the style he wants to bring, and afterwards there is the aging process, the percentage of new oak you put in the wine, and so on. But you know the process.
Wow. Yeah, I have just one word to describe all of Gruaud Larose, and that's passion.
It is.
Passion. The people will notice how you tell about all these different things. Yeah, it's one word. It's passion. If you don't have the passion for your wine, you won't get it.
You know, we had this discussion with Mrs. Salette, who's the technical director, 1 week ago, and she was mentioning that the fact that you can do this kind of job without passion. Why? Because it's a very long-lasting process. Mr. Merlot, I told you, it's a family. And when he decided to take advice, when you do this kind of thing, you have to leave the soil rest for 3 years or 5 years sometimes. Then you replant, and maybe after 15 to 20 years, you can start to produce so-called Grand Cru first wine. Mm-hmm. So it's a very, very long-lasting process. Yes. And can you imagine when you say, okay, so I have to take out the vines of these plots. Maybe in 30 years, I'm going to be able to see if it was right or wrong. That's it's crazy. A very long process. Without passion, forget it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, you need to have passion for this job. Wow. Yeah, I was going through all the glasses to smell them again. For the 96 is going crazy. Wow, wow, wow. And you were talking about freshness at the winery, about the winemaking. Mm-hmm. The freshness in the 010 is
there.
Wow.
That's really, that's bring by the Cabernet Sauvignon. You know, the Cabernet Sauvignon, one of the main feature is the theater you can have. It's very minty. Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's something we really aim for at the estate, is getting this freshness all the way in the mouth. From the attack till the end. It brings it's very pure, but at the same time you can enjoy one glass. Another one is not heavy. Mm-hmm. That's really important for us.
It's a very nice vintage. And next one.
Yes.
Interesting. 14.
So in 2014, yes.
It's also a very good choice, because he's a little bit in the shadow,
yes.
I think. With my experience of tasting 14, wonderful year as well.
It is.
They really live in the shadow of 15 and 10 and 9 and 16 now, but 14. people. Very interesting vintage.
Very often we say we can recognize a nice winery, not on good vintages, but on bad vintages. Or 14 wasn't a bad vintages, but like you said, it's been completely overshadowed by 09 and 10 and all the so-called big vintages. You will tell me what you think, but I truly believe in this kind of wine.
Yes.
That's just the style. You can feel the style of the soil, but also the passion of the winemaker throughout this wine.
It's just another style of wine. Indeed, it's not a bad wine. Some people even probably maybe don't like the 010 because it's not their style of wine. Nobody has the same palate. For 14, there will be a large group of people that love this wine, but they're influenced by, oh, it's a bad year, and people need to forget it, that it's very hard to have a bad year right now because of all the technology and knowledge and experience of the last hundreds of years of winemakers. So the 014 is definitely, in my eyes, it's a pearl because the prices are a little bit more less than the 15 and 16. So this is something you need to pick up always. If I see it somewhere, I always take 14, always.
But let me tell you one thing. First of all, you're right. Don't be shy to say technology, but don't be afraid. When we say technology, this is still real terroir wines. Soil is very important. When we mean technology, that's the precision we have from the beginning till the bottle in the way we make the wine. But we are really terroir orientated. This is a Saint-Julien wine, and this is a Gruaud Larose wines. We do have fantastic neighbors all around. They do produce great wines as well, but the style is really different. And we are not aiming for a trendy style. We're aiming for estate style. And when I'm in technology, because don't get me wrong, I'm in technology for the process.
Yes, nice tannins, powerful, but also very velvety. Red berries, acidity.
And we were mentioning before the freshness.
Yes.
It's
yes. And if I may say, this is maybe a little bit more classic, or okay, perfect. Yeah.
But still, 14 is a good example of what Bordeaux can produce on a so-called intermediate vintage. It's the fruit is there. It's not extra fruity, but the fruit is there. But very nice tannin structure, very pure. It's not, the tannins are not harsh. That's just, very pure, very long, and very approachable.
Very approachable. Very lovely wine. And now, the 18.
The 18. Wow. So I didn't mention it before, but now we are in front of you guys. You can definitely feel the evolution of the labels. So we started first of all with the label, then afterwards it was the bottle. It's a brand new bottle, and we have with 2018 a brand new bottle, but with wax. And it's going to be all the time waxed, all the bottles starting vintage 2018.
Okay. Is there a particular reason for it, or just a new look?
So it's actually both. Obviously, we wanted to have a bottle look more, more in the style of our days. Okay. But at the same time, Gruaud Larose we do have 300 years of history, and the quality of the wine is now really renowned to be one of the top wine from Saint-Julien. And we really wanted to premiumize the offer and get a special experience, because for us, waxed, when a bottle is waxed, that's always very special when you open it up. And you don't have to use the knife of the sommelier. You just have to use a corkscrew and take out the cork without using your knife. That's a very good paraffin waxed, so
easy. So I remembered also that we tasted this one last time, but I cannot get enough of the 18. I don't get enough.
So 18 for me, it's if I say youthful, you know what I mean. Yes. It's not very Saint-Julien in the style. That's a fantastic wine. That's really dense, really muscular fruit. There is lots of Cabernet Sauvignon in the blend, but you can definitely feel the power of the fruit. The tannins are there. They are not already well integrated, but they are really ripe tannins. Yes. So we might need to wait a little bit for this wine, but that's almost a right bank wine in the style.
It's very interesting to see the evolution. But so 2018, so when this video will be released, I guess the wine would be on the market for, I don't know, 3-4 months?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So for the people that have a 18 and you have, let's hope they have a case.
Yes.
It's very interesting to open one now and maybe every couple of years to see the aging. I think that's obviously the best way to test wine.
Exactly.
But the 18, yeah, I remember it was very lovely a couple of months ago.
You know, wine is like a child.
Yes.
You like to see them where they are a child, but you like to see the evolution as well.
That's a good
and you know, 18, you mentioned before, and I think you were 100% right, the tasting window. And 18 is a very young vintage. That's the case for maybe 5 or 6 years now. When we try the wines en primeur, you come very often, so you know that. Back in the day, sometimes try the wine en primeur was a bit harsh, especially for your gum. Now it's getting very easier because the tannins are really ripe, really pure. And when you try 18, when you try it, of course, that's way too young, but at the same time, if you crack a bottle right now, it's not an issue at all. You know what I mean?
Because you just said way too young, correctly, because both of us, we love the aging process. We buy the wine en primeur, we wait for it, we let it rest, so we love the tradition part, but I mean...
It's already enjoyable.
It's maybe September, so half a year ago we tasted this one. Incredible aging already. In 6 months.
In terms of alcohol content, this one is 14.5%. Okay. So this is rather high for Saint-Julien wine and for Gruaud Larose wine.
I did not notice. I think it's very good.
Because of the freshness. Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm not going to spit this one. Huh?
Here we used to have 15 years ago, 15% Cabernet Sauvignon, 55%, which is the vineyard breakdown. Now we are heading towards probably 75 to 80%. Okay, wow. So it's going to be quite a lot. But as I mentioned before, we have 82 hectares as a single block estates. That's a crazy location here. The kind of soil we have here are perfect for Cabernet Sauvignon. And in this blend, we didn't put any Petit Verdot, and that's the case for the past 3-4 vintages. Petit Verdot is really known for its spiciness. Yes. You know, it will pump up your blend in a way.
I was searching for the Petit Verdot.
Yes.
And I could not find it, but now it makes sense. But it's such a wonderful.
I will just check the right blend because I don't know it like the back of my hand, but.
And I don't know if I can, it's already released, but the 2019, we tasted it. We are not tasting it right now, but if people bought 2019 en primeur, it was a great choice, huh?
Yes.
We tasted it a couple of weeks ago in January. I was very surprised.
If I can be frank with you, 2019 is my favorite vintage, hands down. For one reason, I mentioned before about the techniques, the precision in the wine, and 2019 is really a left bank wine. That's really pure. If you chase for wines that pamper your palate straight, that's not the kind of wine you go to. But if you are looking for a real Bordeaux Grand Cru that you will forget in your cellar, really pure, really straightforward, that's really Cabernet Sauvignon with lots of freshness, and there is this salinity at the end of the mouth, and minty feeling. This wine will be able to age for such a long time, and that's really my favorite vintage.
We had the 86.
Yes.
Very approachable right now, but still has a long way to go. The 96, in my opinion, perfect to drink right now. And what do you think about the 10, 14, and 18?
I think 10 is approachable right now. You can start, if you have a case in your cellar, you can start to enjoy it, at least one bottle. But I still would advise to age it in your cellar for a while in order to get the tannins melted slowly in bottle. For the 14, I would advise to start to enjoy them right now. I'm pretty sure they're still able to age a little bit. They will age for 10 years, 15 years without any issue. But if you want to have like a pleasure right away. That's the kind of vintage you should go to, and the price is really fair.
Yes, for sure.
And for the 18, of course, it's way too young, but I still, if you're brave enough, I would open a bottle and try it and forget the 5 others in your cellar, because the wine is just crazy.
I have one good friend, and he's a very big fan of Gruaud Larose. I already told you.
Told me, yeah.
He received the 18. I think he had a case. And the next day I saw him on Instagram on his story that he already opened it, and he was like, wow, so approachable already. And I told him directly, I love your guts. I love that you want to open it right now and see their evolution and see what you're going to do with the wine the upcoming years.
Mm-hmm.
Through our conversation, I have actually another word that can describe Gruaud Larose, and it's also tradition.
Yes.
It's like, as you told me, your father is here, the gardener's father started here, so a lot of tradition and passion, and I think it's the perfect recipe for a great wine.
It's for me, it's a matter of tradition and modernity. It's tradition in style, because we are not chasing for trends, we are chasing for style. Because styles, it's your style. And over the years, it's not an issue at all. When you're looking for trendy stuff, it's not the same thing. We're looking for a style which is Gruaud Larose style, Saint-Julien style. That's the tradition. And why modernity at the same time? Because there is new technologies in the way we work in the vineyard, in the way we work in the cellar. Something very important I didn't mention is since vintage 2019, we are in a way to be organic. So we are in conversion. The first vintage will be 2022. But that's really a challenge for us because of the weather conditions with humidity we have quite often. But instead of talking about organic stuff, I like to talk about sustainable farming. Mm-hmm. Here, the area, the Médoc, is a natural area, is a park. And at the bottom of the estates, we can really see it from there. But we are at the top of the hilly gravel knoll. And at the bottom, we have an area which is called Natura 2000, Natura 2000. Mm-hmm. And this place is full of wildlife. And we are working with agroforestry staff. The idea is getting this wildlife living in your agricultural parts, and it's basically what we call sustainable farming. Yes. It's having this balance between natural life and the vine stock.
Very interesting. So a lot of future plans.
It's already in place. We planted more than 2,000 trees here. When I say trees, it's not only trees, but it can be bush and so on. Yeah. The idea is getting the wildlife moving from the Natura 2000 area to the vineyard. And we also planted tiny forest, which is called Miyazaki forest. Okay. That's very tiny. It's almost a small, tiny square like this, packed with lots of trees. This is like protecting areas for wildlife. Okay. Basically only no humans can go in. Okay. It's only what we call a zone tampon in French, with protected areas. They can be there and be protected, and when they want, they can go in the vineyard. Wow. So we also have a shepherd with hundreds of sheep. So as you can see here, the vineyard, there is grass right now. Yes. Because we are organic. We use tractors. And we compact the soil, and the grass will decompact the soil, and at the same time, it will help to feed the sheep.
Very important. Thank you, Arnaud, for the lovely vertical tasting, and thank you for the people for watching. I hope this was a very interesting guide for you about all the vintages about from Gruaud Larose and the evolution from the winery.
Thank you, Yannick. Thank you for hosting this tasting with us. And it's always a pleasure to try the wine with you. I know you have lots of passion. And thanks for helping us to know our wines throughout the world. And thank you guys for your time. You are, of course, more than welcome here if you want to visit. I would be very happy to host you here. And please enjoy.
And we will see you at the next one. Thank you.